Hey everyone, you're listening to The Crisis here on KUCI 88.9 in Irvine. I'm Elle, and we have a special guest today, Benny. Want to say hi?
Hi, everybody.
So, if you don't know, I've been playing Benny a lot recently here on The Crisis, especially his three singles that he has out right now: Never Apart, Boys Will Be Boys, and what was the third one again?
The third one was Little Game.
Little Games, yeah. So, how are you doing?
I am doing great. I am currently back home with my family in Texas, so we're powering through a hurricane, but all is good. I'm here and hopefully having a good time.
And everyone here in Southern California who's just shading through the sun, like we all hope for the best for you and good luck.
Thank you very much. It's very appreciated.
So for the listeners who don't really know much about you, want to tell us a little bit about yourself?
Sure, yeah. So my name is Benny. Some people know me as Benny. Some people know me as Ben J. Pierce. Some people don't know me at all, and that's what this is for. I basically started out as like a YouTuber and actor, and over the past few years have been releasing music that talks about obviously the normal things that music would talk about, love and relationships, but also talks about things like gender and things like sexuality and things like toxic masculinity and it's been really fun kind of getting to like develop my sound and transition from YouTube to music, and I'm really excited for what I have coming soon.
That's really great. Yeah, no, I was like, I found your music first and then I found your vlogs and I was just like, this guy's really, really funny. Like, he like not only has like great content, I loved your makeup videos because I remember the first one I saw was a Grace Helbig drag queen video.
Aw,
And I remember this one line that you said in here. It's like some people are like, what kind of videos do you make? Do you make comedy? Do you like to make stupid
mhm.
stuff? Or like, do you like makeup? And you're just like, yes.
Yeah, I mean that's kind of the thing. Coming from YouTube, I was doing YouTube as like a side thing when I first started, and because of that, it was really just like anything and everything I wanted to do, which was everything from like making videos about my mental health, which was like serious, to making a video where I turn into like an egg with makeup and I'm like making puns the whole time. So it was kind of fun to come from that and then go into music, which I now, I like to say I take it a little more seriously, but in like the core of it all, it's definitely still me.
Of course, yeah. So, yeah, I wanted to ask about that. So, do you feel like maybe your online presence is like fairly similar to who you are in real life?
Yeah, I definitely think it's like sort of like a heightened version of myself. Uh I don't think I would ever put anything out that was, not as genuine as I am in real life, but I definitely the number one thing people say when they meet me is that I'm a lot calmer than they expected. I think because on my YouTube channel I was very like high energy and like crazy and puns, and then in real life it's like if I was like that I'd probably be a little like unbearable to be around. So yeah, I definitely think that everything you see online is like a good representation of myself. Just of course, a little more of a cartoonized version, which I don't think is necessarily a bad thing.
Yeah. No, see, I always get the opposite where it's I'm a lot more happy and like everywhere, like and energetic than like what I seem like. Yeah.
Hey, that's great too.
Yeah, just the two different or two opposites. So yeah, so you're talking about like how in your music that you work a lot about like the toxic masculinity. You talk about LGBT. So is
Mhm.
that like especially like your goal for music, or do you just want to like work on the sound, or where does all that come from? Like, what is your like musical style and like what method comes about?
Well, I think what's really kind of in the focus right now is, I started out with music by releasing a song when I was 14 called Little Game, which was entirely about gender roles and how I felt about them. And it was like, it wasn't me trying to like make a song that would do well or that people would listen to. It was kind of just that I wanted to make a song that I would have wanted to hear. And people ended up really liking it and really responding and relating to it. And I kind of after that made it a goal to like make music that I would have wanted to listen to when I was younger or that I would want to hear now, kind of to fill the gap that I see in music. And recently, the focus has been kind of finding a balance between having like strong messages in songs like Boys Will Be Boys and Little Game, but with like pop and more of like a digestible or listenable style with like a song like Never Apart. So with the EP that I'm working on right now, a lot of the music is kind of the in between of that, where there's like strong messages in them and like things that I want to say or that I want to hear, but they're not buried, but we'll say polished with like pop sounds and listenable tracks. So I hope that with the future music, people can really listen to it for all types of reasons and hopefully find the in-between of the two things that I like to talk about, if that answers your question.
Yeah, that really does. And no, I remember like when I like first started listening to it, like you said specifically, it's like it's the stuff that you'd want to hear. I remember listening to it
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, this is what I wanted to listen to in high school because in
Oh,
like I lived in like a small town where
right,
like there was like a lot of misogyny, a lot of homophobia, and then just I had a lot of like friends within my group, like they were like always dealing with all these issues coming at them, and I wanted to find someone somewhere cuz our internet connection was not the greatest. So I really
right,
wish that we had like some pop artist somewhere who would be able to like really give us like these messages saying like, hey, it's not you, like this is just how
right.
things are, like we can fix it though. And I found that to be such a great message, and I was reading the comments to especially like Boys Will Be Boys, and everyone was like, this is what I wanted to listen to. So I'm amazed by how much you've been able to like do that. So do you think that you're gonna like continue on with this in the future, or do you think you're gonna like probably switch to more like pop or
Well, first of all, thank you. That's a huge compliment. It's exactly what I would hope from that. Yeah, music is definitely something that has taken a lot of focus in my life. It's always something that I used to kind of have in the back of my mind, and recently I sort of discovered that people really like it, and I really like it, and it's a great time to be doing this, especially as an independent artist. Yeah, and I definitely what I don't want to do is like abandon my truth, if you will.
mm,
I definitely intend to stay in the kind of world of talking about things that people might be a little more uncomfortable to talk about in music. But I think what will be nice about doing it like an EP or an album versus just doing a single is I can kind of make sure there's a little bit for everybody. So right now there's songs that are just really fun and really like, mindless, if you will. But then there's also songs that are very hard hitting and very honest. And I think that you kind of need a little bit of both to not get too like in your head. But yeah, I definitely intend on balancing the two so that there's people like you and people like me who need to hear these things and they get to hear them.
yeah, I can't wait till your EP. Like I feel like that's going to be the greatest thing. I'm going to make sure I play as many songs from there as possible during my shows.
Thank you.
So, let's talk about more of like maybe your musical process. So, yeah, you started off on just like vlogging, and then so you got into more and more music. So, when you're writing a song, like what exactly do you start with? Is it a lyric? Is it a instrument? Like just some chords? Like where do you go from?
So the musical process for me is like obviously it can be very different from song to song, but typically what'll happen is I'll come up with like a theme or a phrase. For example, with Boys Will Be Boys, I knew that I wanted to write a song using the phrase Boys Will Be Boys. It just was something that was very, it had a very bad association for me, so I really wanted to redeem it in a way that I think was necessary. So I'll start with usually like a phrase or an idea, and then I'll kind of build around that. Typically what happens is I'll take the phrase and then work on some instrumentation and kind of produce like what I call like a rough draft or like the skeleton of a song, and then come up with some melodies for it. And it's a weird process in the sense that it kind of creates itself almost, where like I'll just like add a little bit and it goes a long way, and the next thing you know I have a song. Boys Be Boys is actually a great example of a song that did that, where I started with a phrase and then I kind of was just toying around with instrumentation, and then the next thing I know I had written this song, and I was like, oh gosh, this is it, this is the song. So yeah, it's kind of different for everything. There are some times where I'll have like a melody, but that always happens when I'm like at the grocery store like buying things, and then I'll have to like in my voice memos of my phone like hum something, and I sound like a crazy person, and I listen back to the voice memo later and it's like me humming very quietly while there's like people like talking and shopping in the back. Yeah, it's a different process every time, but most of the time it starts with just an idea or a phrase and then kind of builds itself around that.
Okay, yeah, no. I tend to do a lot of the voice memo thing personally, but yeah,
Yeah.
okay, so also I wanted to ask you about like your music videos in particular. So do you create them all yourself? Like, are you like one of the main production like individuals within it, or do you like where do they originate kind of?
Yeah, so I'm kind of, as it stands now, like a little bit of a one-man team. Like when it comes to my music, I write, produce, and record it myself. And then when it comes to the videos, I will produce and kind of direct. Only recently have I kind of reached out more because I just really have found like a love for collaborations. I remember when I first started, I was very like, I have to do everything, and now I'm like, no, it can be really fun to work with people. So like for example, with Boys Will Be Boys and my latest video for Never Apart, I worked with a really great filmographer from New Zealand. His name is Chase versus Everything. He's a great YouTuber who I really wanted to, work with him on getting the exact visual that I had in my head. And it was really fun getting to work with somebody who was really talented and also get to see my vision come to life in a way that wasn't so limited to what my skill set is. But yeah, anything that you see on my channel is definitely something that came from my brain and was directed or produced accordingly. Yeah, it's been fun to kind of grow with the process.
No, I really love that. That's so like I feel like that's becoming more and more unique where like people are just starting to take it all like to themselves and like maybe reach out like a little bit to other people because like I don't know when you see a lot of bigger artists it tends to just be them dancing or them doing something like that
Right.
and like no your music videos they have so much content within them that just adds so much to the song itself.
Oh, well, thank you. I think there's a good like place for everything, and I'm happy to have a place that is, uh, important to some people. It's nice.
Okay. So I'm running out of a few questions here. So I guess also I have to ask, is there anything that you would like our listeners to know, like anything more about you, any weird quirks that you have, or just any maybe things I haven't asked so far that you really want to be known?
I guess it's really just to keep their eyes peeled, or I guess their ears peeled. I don't know what you say in the music world. Just be on the lookout, I guess, because I just sent like I'm working on the EP, of course. I'm working on the next era of music, if you will. And the one of the first songs I'm planning on releasing very soon is being currently mixed right now, which is really exciting. It means we're finally like getting on the move to getting all of this stuff out there. So I would just say aside from all, I mean, they know all my like crazy quirks and weird things. So here's my like reasonable answer, which is like I'm very excited, and I think things are going to be coming a lot sooner than they might think, and that's pretty exciting.
Okay, so okay, I have to ask though, do you have any like plans to be like touring or like any gigs coming up soon?
I definitely really want to. Touring is something that's definitely on my mind. I think once the EP is coming around, I'm going to start doing shows. Hopefully, I've had a couple opportunities recently that I've had to kind of put on hold, just because I really want to make sure that my first shows and my first appearances are like as best as they can be and are as full as they can be. And right now, I feel like I need to get a couple of the songs out before then. But yeah, touring is definitely on the mind. It's definitely something that I am planning to develop very soon, and I don't know. I'm very excited because I work again independently on my own, so it's kind of really nice to like see that people are listening and responding, and I think that'll be a really fun adventure to go on when it's time.
Okay, yeah, no, make sure you come over to like, the UC Irvine area. Like I'll be in the
Yes.
front row.
Oh my God, yeah, that's a big thing too. If there's anybody listening who like specifically wants me to come somewhere, always tweet me. I'm always down to hear where you guys are from and like how I can connect.
Which actually leads me to one of my last questions here is so where should we go exactly for like your social media if like we want to get more of you? So like your YouTube, Insta, Twitter?
Sure. Yeah, if you want to find me, you can find me by searching Ben J. Pierce or by searching Benny Sounds. I'll come up with either. Or you can search Egg Makeup Tutorial. I'm the first search result. I guarantee it. Yeah, you can find me everywhere across the platform at Ben J. Pierce.
Okay, so make sure everyone Google the egg makeup video, please, please.
That's absolutely
Let's get
it.
all the likes. Like I think 1 million likes is our goal now.
That is definitely the goal. I mean, my music is like what I'm here to talk about. But the egg video is what you want to hear about. So that's what you
Exactly.
should go check out. Also, stream Never Apart. I don't know. This is where I like realize I need to be doing my job and promoting my music. Oh well. Anyway.
Don't worry, I got you. I got you. So I think that's about it. So thank you again, Benny, for being here on The Crisis. And everyone, make sure you stay tuned for a lot of new music coming up. And make sure you go and check out his EP as soon as it drops. And
Yay.
yeah, have a great day.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me.